Stop. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our unique, except for now, I think almost all of our Facebook Lives are unique in some way, but today feels extra special. So those of you who are just joining us, we are Tiara International, and we are a women's leadership development company, and we, on Fridays, go live just to talk about what's happening for us during the week and to share with you any hot topics that have come up through our clients, our work. So I'm Betsy Sobiech. I'm one of the Global Leaders Managing Partners, and today we have
I'm Alison Miller, another global partner.
Yes, I'm Andrea Henning, also a global partner from Europe.
Yes, so typically, if you guys tune into these, what you can do by following our Facebook page or our YouTube channel, you'll see that we're like in the Brady Bunch 6 boxes because we're all connected from different corners of the world, wherever we are. But today, we actually are all here, all 6 of the global partners, and here happens to be Oklahoma City, of all places.
Yes.
So here we are in Oklahoma City. It's my first time. Is it your first time in Oklahoma City?
I was once in Oklahoma or Tulsa. I can't remember which one.
So
20
Oklahoma
years ago.
in general.
I've been in Oklahoma, but it's been a long time.
And
I only know it from by books and stories.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So, and we're here because our business partner, Beth, Elizabeth Resky, her oldest son is getting married tomorrow. And we have shown up because, first of all, we have been in business together in some way for 17 years. And Tiara itself around about 10 years.
Yeah.
So we have actually seen our kids grow up together. And so it's been great to see like everyone's kids, that kind of thing. So Matthew, the oldest, is getting married tomorrow, and we're all here in Oklahoma City. So we thought that today what we would do is just talk about the importance of being together. So that we can talk about like how you make that happen when you live obviously remotely. You lead a lot virtually. We're always asked to do things virtually for our clients, but why bother getting together? And what happens when you're actually in person as opposed to just connecting virtually? So who has something they want? I know we've been talking about it and we've been running errands this morning, but what would you say?
Well, I mean, there's so many things about that happen when we get together as a group, but one thing that I think is really meaningful for us is actually breaking bread together, making meals together, planning together, getting to know each other in a way, so how are you eating now? And what's going on with your kids? And there's an opportunity to have conversations about what's happening in our lives and have that sense of connection and compassion and care. Because when you're in business, whatever kind of business you're in, you have a whole life. And that life is impacting us on an individual level and impacting what we're able to do and how we lead. And it makes a huge difference to feel like you know what's happening in each other's lives. And it's also nice to have fun, put on music, have a drink. You know, when we were in Colorado a few years ago together, you were so kind every morning. You got up and made green juice for the rest of us. It's so nice to experience each other in that taking care of one another, and that's not something you get to do on weekly Zoom calls.
Exactly.
Yeah. And actually, also the fun of being together, like putting together this Facebook live from this vicinity. We had a lot of fun because it needs a lot of creativity to do that.
We had to make the beds.
Exactly. And so you get to know sides of each other that you don't know, and especially if you really respect each other, then it's even a deeper connection that you have, a deeper understanding, and connection is the one and only most important success factor.
Well, and I think it's something I've really learned from you and Francisca, because even though you are in Europe, you're very willing to show up lots of places in person, which I have really found special. And even though most of our work is done virtually, those times that we spend together really create those lasting bonds.
Yes.
I would also say I've had the experience recently going to a retreat where the main point was just being with people, and it wasn't a hardcore agenda, and it wasn't packed with content. And I left that retreat experience hosted by a good friend of ours, Juanita Roberson in Cincinnati, feeling like, wow, all of our agendas are so packed. So even when people do retreats or go on conferences or go away to like a class where they're getting certified, it just feels like from the minute your feet hit the ground to the end of the week, it's just like learning and schedules and this and the networking hour. And so I left that just a couple weeks ago thinking people just need to have unscheduled time. Now it's awkward for the first hour or something because people aren't used to not having the agenda, and there's a lot of questions about what are we doing next and what's happening. But once people kind of settle in and it's like, we can just like hang out. We can just have a conversation about our lives. And then the odd thing I think we've all experienced is really excellent work gets done. Like somehow by the end of the time together, a creative idea is sparked, something's accomplished or shared that otherwise we never would have done if we hadn't had the time.
Exactly. What is important instead of an agenda is an intention. So we are pretty intentional about our times together, and we talk about that. And having fun also is one of the intentions. But we have a couple, and at the end of the retreat, whether it's we are together 2 days or 3 days or more, all gets checked in a way, and then the excellent work and the creative juices to then be able to make it through the whole next year or half a year on Zoom calls. The connection is strong enough, and I think we have learned to read each other's energy through the virtual better and ask the right questions. But having an intention is important.
Yeah, and a lot of times when we're working with companies, we know that we need to, or even individuals, we know we need to be flexible. We're so thankful for Zoom and this technology, which can keep people more connected. But we really, really do try to be like, is there one time we can meet in person? Is there a point during the year when everybody could get together? And we think that if there's any way to invest in that time and not pack it full of stuff, that it really is quite valuable for all people in many ways.
And I think that the point also, for some of you who watch this recording, you may actually work with people in person every day.
That's true.
But you're doing it in an office environment that doesn't have some of the opportunity for the kind of more informal bonding. And so being able to have a chance where you have some kind of a retreat experience together that isn't so overscheduled, goal-oriented. Even in the early days when we all used to meet, we were pretty packed. We were working really hard, and as the years have gone on, we've become more relaxed and more loose. And interestingly, I think we've become more intentional and less goal-oriented. And I enjoy them much more. And I think that we leave feeling more inspired as individuals to take the action that each of us can take as part of the whole business. But I do really think that we need opportunities to bond together as human beings, and sometimes in a high-rise corporate office where we're all business, we don't get that opportunity. So just something to think about is, are people in your environment, are the people that you lead, are there opportunities for them to bond and connect human to human?
I had an early job when I was in my 20s that it wasn't super corporate like downtown, but it was a job where I had to be there every day between 8 and 5. I worked closely with other people, but at lunch we would play cards. And I loved that. Like everybody would take their 45-minute lunch break at the same time, and we would go back and we would play euchre, and it just added like a little of personality into the middle of the day. And honestly, I'm still friends with those people. Those are the people I think I'm still friends with.
Exactly. And what you're touching on is actually the chemistry between people.
Yes.
I had a totally different conversation the other day about a transformation that went well, a merger of two companies, and the man was asking me what was the success factor, and I actually said it was the chemistry of the leadership team. And so it and from that chemistry you can lead together. It's a collective leadership, and you get through the tough times. And also we have gotten through some tough times.
That's true.
We are in business so long. You cannot not be, but the creating the chemistry. Because one of the questions that I often get is like, but I want to keep my private life, my personal life, and my business life separate for good reasons.
True.
However, we are living an integrated life, so it is to a certain amount knowing what's going on in someone's personal life is productive. we had the conversation in the car about that one of your coworkers was going through a tough time. And then just to know what this time is makes it also, you then understand that how they are showing up at work comes from there and has nothing to do with you or whether they have dropped their performance. So knowing the context is very productive.
You know, when we were just in the car together, we made 4 stops. We were very efficient. And, you know, since you're from the Netherlands, the idea of the yield sign was a new concept.
Yeah.
And we saw this yield sign right as we were talking about this. And so an observation I have of myself as a leader is that something can be going on where I see a dip in someone's performance. And what naturally happens, I believe, certainly for myself and I think for all of us as leaders, is that our mind begins to make up stories. And that's exactly what was happening to me. And I think to myself, the word I'm going to tell myself now when I see dips or changes in performance or something I don't like.
Or even if someone's not showing up, especially if they're absent.
Yeah, is to yield in my interpretation, you know, slow down. Because I ended up finding out that this person called me 2 days ago and let me know what had been going on. And I had no idea. And it was an incredibly challenging situation. She's now on the other side of it. But it recast what had been going on in a completely different light for me.
Yeah.
And none of my stories were nearly bringing forth the compassion that really was necessary. So I do think having some integration, some awareness, you don't have to be best friends with everybody.
No.
But understanding that the personal is professional in many ways. There's a constant infiltration. And oftentimes, people don't know that they can count on you as the manager, the owner, the leader, who will show up with tenderness, with care, with intimacy when difficulties arise in their life.
What it has to do with being the whole person. Like even if you're trying to compartmentalize, you really are a whole person, and bringing your whole self and treating other people like they're a whole person. It goes a long way.
Yeah. Another fear that then managers sometimes have is that once they understand the situation of a person, that they have to accept it, that they then have to play into it. But that's not true either. You can understand it and try to make it work together. And there are limits on what as an employer you can facilitate.
You know, I had this exact experience this past year. I had somebody that was moving, and there was all kinds of breakdowns were happening while she was going through this transition. And so I found myself getting irritated, annoyed, triggered, not my best self. And, but it was very important to me that I lead with compassion and to remember that a move can be incredibly disruptive in someone's life. So in a nutshell, what I did was I said, hey, listen, I get it. I understand. And you know what? What I want to do is I want to partner with you to figure out how we can smooth out these bumps in the road and make this work. And I was honest to your point that what's happening here is actually not working for me. And it's not. And if it's not working for me, it's not working. But I want to show up in your life and be a leader that can support you. And let's figure out together how we can work through this. So it's not that I'm going to tolerate it.
No, exactly. There's a difference between understanding and then accepting or tolerating it. But the understanding part, that's when that's very important.
It also builds the foundation where you can have that kind of conversation directly with somebody and get to the heart of the matter without it feeling like it's coming out of left field or something like that. Like it can really dig deep.
And it makes a difference for me that with this person, we make a point to see each other in person sometimes. Even though we're not, we work virtually. We're on Zoom and phone and text and email all the time. I do think it's really important also that we are conscientious in that virtual reality when we're not together, is that a lot of times we're in this like, okay, and we don't say, have a nice weekend.
Right.
We don't pause and think about how am I communicating in a virtual way that sustains the in-person experience that we had.
Right, and I feel like when we start our Monday meetings, we always connect first. And sometimes I do find myself a little resistant because I have a big list or I have a thing, or everyone says they're so busy. But yet at the same time, everyone's like, we're so busy. And then it's like, let's all sit and chat.
Yeah.
And it always is really useful to have that time invested, to be intentional about connecting and how everyone's coming to the week and things like that. So I feel like what I'm hearing in this conversation is that even though the virtual world actually has us be more connected with more people, which is awesome, we want to not forget that we're in the physical world and make time to be with people in person when we can. Make space so that when we're together, we can just be together, do things together, learn about each other, and then use that as a foundational element of our own growth and development, but also in creating partnerships and relationships and teams over time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so with that, we should probably be with other people that are here and just hang out and be together and get ourselves out of the precarious things we're balanced on in this hotel room.
This was
in order to make this
our
work.
smoke and mirrors we made to make this work.
Between trash cans, recycle bins, chairs, and whatever, we figured it out. But So, all right. So again, Tiara International, Women's Leadership Development. And you can follow our Facebook page to see these live on Fridays or the recordings afterward, or our YouTube channel. We also post those eventually, usually the next week, so you can get the latest there as well. So we hope that you have a really great weekend where you can be with the people who are most important to you. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Bye.